Get ready for your daily dose of marketing strategies and tactics from entrepreneurs with the guile and experience to help you find success in any marketing capacity. You're listening to Marketing School with your instructors, Neil Patel and Eric Su.
Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Su.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to talk about how to efficiently manage your marketing projects. So first and foremost, I'm going to say that Neil is probably the best person I know when it comes to project management, but I'm going to talk about how we do it internally. So for us, we use a tool called GrowthHackers Experiments, and we also combine that with the Google Sheets that we have. And every single week, basically what we try to do is we try to run 3 experiments. So it might be different people responsible, but also each person, before we go into the meeting, is responsible for adding 2 new experiment ideas into GrowthHackers projects. Now, GrowthHackers projects is basically a tool for running growth experiments. So we do that. We throw in different ideas. We prioritize different ideas. We have a hypothesis for each one. And then the entire team votes on the top 3 that they like. We select 3. We pick the time period, and then we have somebody that's responsible for coming back to these each week just to check where we're at with these experiments. That way, we're moving forward on things. We have a leaderboard. We see how things are going. And, the hope is that we can get one test out of maybe every 10 or 12 working, and that's going to move the needle forward. We know most tests are going to fail, and that's okay. But the fact that we're continually experimenting over time, it's going to compound and it's going to help grow the business.
If you really want to get stuff done in marketing and you're trying to figure out how to efficiently manage it, it's not necessarily about managing it. It's about more so cutting back what you're doing. A lot of people always ask me, hey, Neil, you do a lot of marketing stuff. How can you go and do all of these things at once and manage them and get things done effectively and efficiently? You know what's funny? I don't do a lot of things in marketing, and that's where management becomes really easy for me. The reason being is I don't have to manage 10 or 20 different marketing activities. I only do 1 or 2 at a time. Once you get them right, then do more. Until then, don't keep adding more and more to your plate because it just becomes a management nightmare. And when you only have those 1 or 2 things, it's easy to manage them. You can do it over email, you can do it over Trello, you can do it over Basecamp, whatever you want. You can even do it in your head. But I found the key to managing marketing activities and projects isn't to do a lot of them at once. It's just to do a few at once, do them really well, and then move on to others once they're done.
There's 2 essays that I really want to point everyone to. So Brian Balfour was the VP of growth at HubSpot. He had a weekly growth experiments meeting with his team, and he outlines everything. So if you go to his site, it's CoElevate.com. You can even search for just Brian Balfour growth experiments. You can see how his team runs it. And then I'll also reference Sean Ellis's, basically how he runs his growth experiments too. And Sean Ellis is the founder of GrowthHackers, which is the project management tool that I'm talking about. And then after that, create your own. Think about what works for you. If you have a team of only 2 or 3 people, maybe it doesn't make sense to run, the number of experiments that they're talking about. Make sure that you at least have something to run with, because if you don't have a process to follow, it's easily going to fall off. Not many people they don't have memory that's as good as Neil, and they don't move as quickly. And that's the other thing I want to point to. You have to move very quickly too. You have to respond quickly. You have to make sure if the ball's being dropped somewhere, if somebody's not, doing their experiment, you should be talking to them. How come this isn't happening? What can I do to help you exactly? And then, if they kind of become disengaged, you need to get down to the bottom of that too, because this is a team experiment. It's not just one person running all the experiments, because one person can only be so creative, right? And then the other thing I would add, when you're running these experiments, yes, record it inside of experiments, GrowthHackers experiments, or record it in a Google Sheet, but also make sure that you're annotating inside your Google Analytics too. When you're running this test exactly, maybe you made a key change on, you switch from HTTP to HTTPS, for example. Annotate that inside of Google Analytics so you can track it over time, and you can look at how you did over the years.
When you're running marketing projects or campaigns, the biggest thing you need to manage isn't the actual activities, because if you're only doing a few things at once, it's actually really easy. It's managing the list. So create an Excel list of all your ideas and then put in there like, okay, what kind of results do we think this is going to have? High, medium, low. How hard do we think it's going to implement? Easy, medium, really hard to implement. Ideally, what you want to do is go after the things that'll have high impact and that are the easiest to implement, and then you go from there. But that's how you prioritize your lists. Just put them all in the Excel spreadsheet. Doesn't have to be pretty. continually add to them, continually work on the ones that are the easiest to implement, that have the highest potential return, at least that you think will have the highest potential return, and then go from there.
I think that's it for today's episode of Marketing School. There's a lot to do around managing your marketing projects. You can also use other tools like Basecamp or Trello, whatever suits you. So that's it. We'll see you in tomorrow's episode.
This session of Marketing School has come to a close. Be sure to subscribe for more daily marketing strategies and tactics to help you find the success you've always dreamed of. And don't forget to rate and review so we can continue to bring you the best daily content possible. We'll see you in class tomorrow, right here on Marketing School.